Alright, what's up guys, and welcome back to Trap House Garage. We're back here in the garage. Yeah, we're working on the Mustang, trying to get everything ready. Gotten a lot done so far with the help of some buddies and stuff. But yeah, let me flip this around and I'll kind of walk through what I've done so far, and we'll go from there. You see, a lot of the stuff's been tidied up. We put the main harness under the rail instead of on top of the intake to get that to fit, which I may have said that in the last video. I got the upper radiator hose on. This is actually the stock radiator hose for this car, for the 302. Yeah, it don't look the greatest, obviously, but I mean, it works. I might trim some more off of this so it's a little straighter, but for now it'll work. Haven't really decided what exactly I'm going to do, but I do have it clearanced, and the manifolds, the stock truck manifolds for this engine, are on it and do fit now. As you've noticed, I did have a bullhorn on this side for when it was a turbo car, but I may run them like this and back out with obviously a muffler so it's not incredibly loud, but run it back out to here. And this side is also on. This side was a lot tighter, as you can see. I had to do a little trimming right here on this exhaust manifold to get it to clear the power steering pump. But it is on there. It does fit. No lines or anything are touching, nothing important, so it should be okay. I just have this sitting on here to kind of judge, because if I do run it this way, I'm going to run, obviously, one out this side also. Or I might try to run it through here and tie in to that side, and then in a muffler. But we'll see what happens here. This side I can twist, so I could twist it that way. As you can see here, this does spin in here, so I can pretty much put this side however I want it. And if I do turn it this way, it's pretty much ready to go to have pipe welded to it and run along here, and then it'll meet up with this one over here and can run just out that fender. I may do that. I may just make it simpler, like I said, and have it come out this side. But the alternator has its power wire on it now. My fuel system, I'm waiting on a couple fittings to come in, and that'll be done. I rerouted. It's kind of hard to see, but it's now through the shock tower. I redid the lines all the way under the car. And instead of coming up beside the engine now, which I did that because I thought I was going to run exhaust out the back of the car. And that's kind of, since it was a turbo car, I never had exhaust out the back, so under here was where all my fuel line and everything came up. Well, if the exhaust was going to go out the back, it was going to be right there, and I obviously wasn't going to have fuel line that close to my exhaust. So I rerouted all of that. Obviously, it's still hanging here because I don't have the fittings, but it's rerouted on this side of the subframe down here, and now it's going to run up through the outside here and up through the shock tower right there. So that should work good, and now it'll be away from any kind of heat, so I won't have to worry or potentially burn the car down, which that's always a win-win. Whatever this is for the throttle pedal, since this is a drive-by-wire, whatever you want to call this deal here, I have that wired up. Obviously, a bunch of this wiring still needs cleaned up. There's a lot of stuff that's not hooked up yet for my mechanical gauges and stuff. But I have it ran through the firewall, and I thought this was going to be a huge pain. That's why I wanted a drive-by cable motor, but I ended up with a drive-by-wire engine. The guy messed up a little bit. It wasn't too big of a deal. I wasn't upset or nothing. I just thought it would be a huge pain to try to get this set up in this car. But it really wasn't that bad. I was actually able to retain one of the Actually, let me grab a flashlight so I can show you. But I was able to retain one of the mounting bolts for the factory pedal. It's like a stud on the inside of the firewall that the factory pedal mounted to. I was able to retain one of those and use that on this drive-by-wire pedal from this GM vehicle. So it's kind of up in there. You can't really see where it's at, but there's a stud right where the light's shining up on here, or up in here. And I was able to put that bolt back in, which made it pretty sturdy with just the one. But then I added another one down here, obviously. But I did have to obviously cut the pedal off because the truck pedal was super long and it came over here into like the trans tunnel, was hitting the carpet and everything. There was no way to use that. So I chopped it off, and then I cut my factory pedal off also. And if I would have mounted my factory pedal straight to this drive-by-wire pedal, the pedal would have been super close to the floor, and you would have got like 25% travel, and that's it. So I did have to add a little piece of metal here to bring it up further. And yeah, I just welded all that stuff together. I mean, it don't look the greatest, but you'll never see it. It was stuff I had laying around, and it works. And pedal works. It has full travel. It's actually sitting about where it did factory. So I'm pretty happy with that. And like I said, it wasn't as bad as I thought. It is, the wiring is connected to it now and everything, so that is ready to go. And I got a factory Mustang shifter for an AOD car, an automatic car in here. And I built a custom little, since this was originally a 5-speed car when it was made, I didn't have anything that would fit snug around it, so I made my own plastic trim piece here that I think makes it look a lot better. And I mean, it pretty much looks factory, and it works. So yeah, and from what I've read on Google and forums and stuff about LS swapping, they said for a 4L60E you can actually use a stock automatic shifter out of these cars. So that's why I went ahead and got one of those and got it bolted in there. So that should, apparently you don't have to do hardly any modification. It's just a little snap deal, a little over a little ball end that the transmission has on it, and it'll just clip on there, and evidently it works from what I've read. So hopefully it does, and that's another piece of the puzzle down. But oh, what I was saying about the fuel rails earlier too, or the fuel system. Obviously, when it's a turbo car, I had a return setup. Well, these are a returnless setup. So I thought I was going to have to buy the Corvette regulator, blah, 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 or aftermarket fuel rails and do it that way, which I could have done either one. Yeah, they're both fine to do, you know, whatever. But the more I thought about it, you know, why couldn't I use my expensive Aeromotive regulator? So I'm going to retain my factory return, which is the bottom one, the feed that is now tucked in the shock tower, which was a 10-an, and I had, or dash 10, you know, whatever you want to call them. I had my nasty little Y fitting here, and it necked into two dash 8s. I took that off since it's only going to be a one feed now, and like I said, that'll feed into here once I get the fitting I need. It'll run straight across, hit this one, come back around, and then once I get the fitting that clips onto here, this dash 6 will screw right into that. That'll be done. And like I said, the return already runs straight to the tank. I'll need to bump the fuel pressure up for an LS. I think it's 60 pounds. And right now it was set for like 43, I think it was, for my small block Ford that was in it. So all I got to do is bump that up a little bit, and should be good to go. I haven't messed with any of the wiring yet, but I mean, it's 3 wires. That's literally all I need to hook up, and it'll start and run. Other than the starter wire, which is 2 wires, but I obviously don't have the starter in it yet because the transmission is sitting right here. We did pull the converter out because I think I am going to go ahead and order a converter while it's out. That way I don't put it in, drive it for a week, and then want one and have to pull it back out and blah, blah, blah. I think it's smarter just to do it right now. And yeah, it's got a new front pump, seal, so it's been rebuilt, so hopefully it'll last a little while. I'm sure everybody knows how these 60Es are. But should be okay for a little while as a driver. You know, I have an F-body car, and it's a 60E car, and really haven't ever had an issue out of it. And, I mean, I've beat the piss out of that car. But, yeah, that's about it, I think. Anything major I've done anyways. I don't really think there's anything else. You know, my buddy Lance and Rodney were a huge help. They were over here last night helping me do stuff and getting some stuff done. Little stuff, like I said, the radiator hose and capping off a line under here that ran to the coolant reservoir, or the overflow, whatever you want to call it. Still got to hook a vacuum up for my brake booster to this side of the intake. Really nothing major. The only major thing left now that I've got the pedal done, and it was easier than I thought, is just getting the transmission in and building them out for it. And that really shouldn't be any big deal. I don't think. Let's hope. But yeah, it's pretty much just wanted to give a little update of how far it's gotten in literally one day. Yeah, I think that's it. Like I said, just want to do a little update, get a video out there. I know it's boring. I apologize, but just plugging away on this thing and trying to get it up and running and go from there. But yeah, I think that's probably about it. I don't really think there's much else to talk about. I think that's it. I think I've gone over just about everything. It needs one heater hose and a lower radiator hose still built. I forgot about that. That's gonna be nothing. Really, it's just the transmission, and now figuring out what I want to do with the exhaust, whether I run it out a single out each side or tie them together and run them out the side that already has a hole cut in it. But I think I'm gonna call it quits for the night, just get this little update video out, and we'll be back at it and have some more videos of everything I or we do to this car. So thank you guys for watching, and as always, please comment, like, subscribe, and share with your friends, and we'll see you on the next one.